Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha. Dear friends, today I will be giving Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Narasimha. Dear friends, today I will be speaking on the three pillars supporting life, the TRIDANDAs. They are called the body, mind and soul. Deha, Manas and Atma respectively. Our body is very intricate and our body is one of the most intelligent machines. Whether a person is literate or illiterate, their bodies are able to accomplish very complex jobs such as breathing, digesting, moving and reproducing. So, but what is life? Life comes into picture when all the three pillars are working together and the three pillars are cooperating with each other. Even if any one of these break, life topples down and life is lost. So our body is the instrument, the mind is the coordinator and the soul is the witnesser and the self. Starting with the body, our body is a very important pillar and this helps the soul to perceive the world. Our body, each one of these pillars have roots. So our body is made up of the 5 elements, the Panchamahabhutani. Many are of the opinion that Ayurveda does not mention the so-called modern elements. But friends, this world comprises of various elements that we have not even researched about. Coming back to the topic, there are 5 elements that are earth, water, fire, vayu or air and akasha or space. The Sanskrit names are Prithvi or Bhumihi, Apaha or Jalam, Analaha or Tejas, Anilaha or Vayuhu and Akashaha. So, earth is the element of growth, support, solidity, smell and it has a dense molecular structure. Water is the element of liquidity, cool nature and hydration as well as taste. Analaha or fire is the element of sight, digestion, acidity, heat, change and light. Vayuhu or air is the element of movement, touch, aeration and gaseous nature. Akasha is the element of sound and pervasion, space and ether, and it is the zero materially yet full spiritual. Now the second root of the body is Tridosha, the Vata, Pitta and Kapha. You can also watch my brother's video on Tridosha. He has elaborately explained the system of Tridosha in Ayurveda. Vata is made of Vayu, Pitta is made of fire or Analaha, Kapha is made of earth, Prithvi, Bhumi or Bhumihi and Apaha or water. So next we go to the mind, and the mind is one of the most intelligent ones. We have such an intelligent brain and mind that no mortal can create it. Our mind is very complex and the roots of our mind are the 3 modes of nature, Sattva, Rajas and Tamaha. The modes of goodness, passion and darkness or ignorance respectively. And I forgot to mention this verse. Lord Krishna says in the Jnana Vijnana Yoga 7th chapter 4th verse, Bhumirapo nalo vayuhu kammano buddhirevacha ahankare iti yanne pinna prakritirashtadha. Earth, water, fire, air, akasha or that is either, mind, intelligence and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So, as I said, the mind has the roots in the modes of nature, the 3 modes of nature. They are called Triguna, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the modes of goodness, passion and darkness or ignorance respectively. Lord Krishna says in the 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, 6th, 7th and 8th verses, Tatra Sattvam Nirmalatvat Prakashakamanāmayam Sukha Sangena Padnati Jnana Sangena Chanagha. Meaning, those situated, the mode of goodness being purer than the others is illuminating and it frees one from all sinful reactions. The persons situated in this mode are conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. The second verse, the 7th verse says, Tat rajoragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhavam tannibadhnati kaunteya karma sangena dehinam. The mode of passion is born of unlimited desires and longings, O son of Kunti, and because of this, the embodied material entity is bound to material fruitive actions. In the 8th verse, Lord Krishna says, Tamastvajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarvadehinam pramadalasya nidrabhi tannibadhnati bharata. O sign of Bharata, know that the mode of ignorance is born, know that the mode of darkness is born of ignorance and is the delusion of all embodied living entities. And thus, this mode results in madness, indolence and sleep which binds the conditioned soul. So thereafter I complete about the mind, and next I would like to talk about the soul. And the soul is very tiny, and yet it is the witnesser, it is a self. And those who don't understand that the soul is a self still continue to struggle in the cycle of births and deaths. So the soul is connected to the body through ahankara or false ego, and because the soul is in a spiritual sphere whereas the body is in a material sphere. The soul connects to the mind through buddhi or intelligence, and we can keep the intelligence as a lawyer for the soul. And the mind always consults the buddhi or intelligence before accomplishing any voluntary job. And so the soul is able to connect to the mind, and conscience is also one of the main important things that asks the mind and questions the mind whether it is doing the right thing or wrong. So non-vegetarian diet, intoxicants, anger, lust and greed subdue conscience, and it is always very important to stay away from such habits. But the question is, where does the soul go after it parts from the body and mind? Because the body and mind are material and the soul is spiritual. So the soul parts from the body and mind when time comes. And where does it go is the question. So Lord Krishna says clearly in the 14th chapter, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, 18th verse, Urdhvam gachanti sattvasthaha madhye tishtanti rajasaha jaghanya guna vrittisthaha adho gachanti tamasaha. Those situated in the mode of goodness gradually go upwards to the higher planets. Those in the mode of passion live on the earthly planets, and those in the mode of darkness go downwards to the hellish worlds. So above the soul there is God, that is the super soul, the Paramatma, and he resides in every single creature. He observes what we do each and every moment and every single moment. So we always have to be careful, and we have to try to do more good things and earn merits rather than sins. So as I said, even if any one of these break, life topples down and life is lost. So when these are not balanced, there is no health in the body. When these are not balanced, there is no health in the body. When these pillars are balanced, there is health in the body. So coming Coming to the natal constitution of a baby when it is in the womb of the mother, it depends on the parental genetic material, that is, such as RNA or DNA, 5 elements, the environment, 3 modes of nature, and the 3 humors. So this is the basic constitution. Going forward, when the child grows and it has its own intelligence, it starts to perceive the world and do various activities, it develops an altered constitution. So, for example, for instance, we take a pot with milk. This is a sense object, and the sense organs, either the eye, nose, tongue, hand, the skin, or ear, observe this and perceive this with their sense faculties, that is, the sight, smell, taste, touch, and hear. So these are the sense faculties, and finally we perceive the pot with milk, and then the action is taken, that is, the milk is drunk. And this doesn't end over here. There are effects that we get out of each and every activity. Hita and ahita, which lead to sukha or dukkha. Hita is beneficial, ahita is harmful, sukha is happiness, and dukkha is sadness. So hita brings to sukha, ahita leads to dukkha. Sukha brings a positive change and dukkha a negative change. So similarly, we can compare it to junk food. So the sense organs perceive the junk food in a very nice looking stall and get attracted towards it and would like to eat it. So then the taste faculty of the tongue eats it and the action is done. That is, the chips, anything that you see is eaten. Next, the effects. If it is homemade chips or if it is made of healthy cold pressed oil, then it is beneficial, and this will bring a positive change in the constituents of the body. But if it is from a shop and it is junk, it is made of refined oil and it is from packets and it is processed, then it brings a harmful effect to the body, that is, a negative change to the constituents of the body. So time is also a very important factor that we have to observe while looking at the body and mind. The body and mind are interconnected deeply, and time is also a very important factor. And seasons, day or night, planets, stars, and the atmosphere decides when we will get a disease, when we will get anything, and these close and deeply affect our bodies and minds. Some common questions are what to do to improve the balance of the tripod of life. So Ayurveda is a very easy method to follow, and it plucks the disease from the root itself, whereas allopathy, it just trims the disease and the weed, and just like a weed trimmed, and it grows really even better after getting trimmed. So as I said, the trigunas are also very important factors, and sattva is the non-pathogenic mode, and rajas is the trigger for pathogenesis, and tamaha is certainly pathogenic. So some people may ask that how do I solve an individual particular disease? So for instance, we keep it as a eye ache, eye pain, or headache. Our body is releasing a few hormones to create a headache and to signal our body that there is something harmful in your body. There is something that you have eaten wrong, and so I'm signaling you that there is something wrong in your body. And what allopathy does at this time is it subdues the hormone, and then the headache comes even intensely and severely in the next few days, in the near future. And Ayurveda just plucks it out from the root by giving medicines, by applying paste of hing on the head and soothing the head. And finally, removing the toxins from the body and detoxing the body. So one more frequently asked question is how to calibrate the mind and the body. So there are three ways to do so. One is good lifestyle, second is pranayama, and the third is Ashtanga Yoga. Good lifestyle is when we are consuming good food, and good food is when we boycott junk food and 5 evils and stop cooking in aluminium and non-stick utensils. Refined and the 5 evils such as the refined salt, sugar, jaggery, milk, and oil. So any of these refined causes a lot of problems, and we should stop consuming food, junk food from outside, cause these contain MSG or monosodium glutamate, which is a very harmful chemical for our body. And pranayama is breathing exercise. There are many various ways that we do pranayama: anuloma vinoma pranayama, bhastika, and kapalabhati. So anuloma viloma pranayama is very easy for beginners, and we can just pull in air from the left nose by closing the right nose, and pull in air from the right nose by closing the left one. So this is very beautiful when done in fresh air and in sunshine in the morning, and with touch with the soil. So we need to touch with the soil. We need to connect with nature, especially in this situation. People are very scared of the virus, and they are sitting inside their homes without even connecting with Mother Nature. So it's a very important point that we all go outside and touch the soil, be in the sunshine, and feel the fresh air. So Ashtanga Yoga is a beautiful Ayurvedic therapy and exercise procedure for all to do, and we can do various postures and exercises. That is what Ashtanga Yoga is about. And one more question that people may ask is how to solve psychosomatic disease. So the psychosomatic disease means that psyche means the mind, and soma means the body. So psychosomatic disease is when the body and the mind both are involved. So allopathy looks at, for example, there is a headache. They won't check at the mental level, and they will just give a drug to subdue the hormone at the physical level. So that's why allopathy is wrong and Ayurveda is correct, because it checks and researches both in the mental level and in the physical level. So how fear, tension, stress, anger, anxiety, greed, and lust can cause disease? This is one of the most questions that people may ask. And so as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says anger, greed, and lust are the 3 gateways to hell. And so I would like to conclude that what is health and what is disease. So health is when all these 3 pillars are balanced, and disease is when any of them break. Based on the intensity, life topples down, life is lost, or there is a disease which occurs. So even the likings of the person in food is altered and changed according to the 3 modes. So if one mode is dominant, the rest are subdued. But all the 3 modes are present in a human body, and they are present in the mind. So one cannot say that if the mind is dominant with a sattva guna, the rajas and tamas qualities are not present. But all the qualities are present, because tamas is the guna of sleep, and without that humans cannot sleep. That is a very important thing, and we have to have at least little of these 2 qualities, tamas and rajas, to live in this earthly world. So Lord Krishna says in the 3 verses, the 17th chapter, Shraddhatre Vibhaga Yoga, 8th, 9th, and 10th verse, Ayus sattva bala arogya sukha priti vivardhanaha rasya snigdha sthira hridyaha ahara sattvika priyaha. Lord Krishna says, foods that are foods dear to those in the mode of goodness increase the duration of life and purify one's existence and give strength, health, happiness, and satisfaction. Such foods are juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to the heart. The next verse states about the rajas quality. Katvam lalavanathyushna tikshna ruksha vidahinah ahara rajasasyeshtaah dukkha shokamaya pradaah. So, foods that are too sour, too salty, too hot, dry, burning, and pungent. Katu, amla, lavana, atiushna, tikshna, ruksha, vidahinah, aharaha, rajasasyeshtaah, dukkha shoka mayapradaha. So such foods cause distress, misery and disease. The third verse states about the tamas quality. Yatayamam gatarasam puti paryushitam chayat uchishtam apichamedhyam bhojanam tamasapriyam. So, food that is prepared more than 3 hours before being eaten, food that is tasteless, decomposed and putrid, food that is food consisting of remnants and untouchable things are dear to those in the mode of darkness or ignorance. Such foods cause misery and disease. So, I would like to relate this topic to homeschooling, and at this situation and in this period, homeschooling is very advantageous because children in homeschooling are able to attend to their urges, natural urges, and children are able to eat nutritious food. They are able to sleep at proper time because in regular schooling the children are forced to write homeworks late in the night and wear shoes, and in home they are comfortable, and I request your parents to give printouts to the children and let them study well at home. So I would like to conclude that these 3 pillars support life. So we can visualize the structure as the 3 pillars that are supporting the roof as jivana, and these pillars, each pillars have roots. Like the body has roots for Panchamahabhutani and the Tridosha, and Ahankara, that is false ego. Soul is relating to the Paramatma, and the Paramatma resides in our soul, and the mind is related to the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas qualities, the Trigunas. So, thank you. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Shri Ramachandra, Jai Shri Lakshmi Nrasimha.